technical difficulties. Let's jump right into it. Have you guys heard of what's going on across the nation with the tariffs right now? A lot of good stuff. But oh, I see some people tuning in online. Thank you guys for tuning in online. You are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are here in your ear having those conversations that you need to hear. We are on live radio in upstate New York, 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. If you want to tune in on the radio. And please hit the like, hit the share, get this message out there. That's how we have those important conversations and push them forward. Now, let's talk about what's going on with these tariffs, because I think it's very interesting. A lot of people don't understand that tariffs are important when it comes to trade protectionism. And people say, oh, well, trade protectionism is not something that I support because I want low prices. Okay, that's fine if you want low prices. I get it. Low prices are great. Everybody likes low prices. But if you're getting low prices by sending your purchases overseas, well, sending your money overseas to get purchases from overseas or buying products from overseas, that means that all of the money is going to flood out of the country. It also means that the jobs are going to flood out of the country. And you're sponsoring some other country and not the United States of America. Now, I live in the United States of America. I want to keep the money circulating in the US. So I want people to buy from companies in the US. I want people to manufacture in the US. And when we buy these cheaper goods from other countries, that cuts the legs out from underneath our own economy here. Now, while we do have a very serious consumer economy, how are you going to consume if you don't have any jobs? Just make it make sense. It's rather simple. If we don't have any jobs here, then you can't buy stuff. And if you can't buy stuff, the economy stops working in the United States. So we need to start going back to going to a maker economy where we are building the goods here, where we are constructing the goods here, where we are manufacturing the goods here, where we are sourcing our own agriculture here, where we are getting our own minerals and our own energy production here in the United States. If we don't focus on that, then all of our money is going to continue to flow out of our nation. And when the money flows out of the nation, it's not coming back, you guys. It's like when the money flows out of a community. It's not coming back. And we don't want that because that hurts the value of our dollar. So the more low-cost goods that you buy from China or whatever, the more money that flows out of the country and the lower the value of our dollar gets and the less spending power that we have as far as the US dollar goes. And right now we know that inflation is high as all good get up, even though they say, oh, well, inflation is lower because the percentage of inflation is increasing slower. Well, I don't want the percentage of inflation to increase at all. I want inflation to go down. I want deflation, because when we have deflation, you guys, that's when we have an increase in the value of the dollar. But the only way to get deflation is for us to keep more of the money inside our own country, circulating inside our own country. So all of these cheap goods and all of this cheap labor, it's nice. It sounds good. It sounds great. And it's grand. And I get it. I like inexpensive things too. But if that money is going overseas to a foreign country, to foreign manufacturers, it's hurting our nation. And people are like, oh, well, if you want cheap goods, you got to get them from other countries. Yes, bing, bang, boom. I understand that. I'm not a person that's retarded or anything like that. Like, I understand if we want cheap goods, American labor costs more. To get cheap goods, we need cheaper labor or cheaper resource costs, right? That's simple. But when we do that by buying from other countries or manufacturers that use stuff from other countries, we're hurting our own nation long term. And we can take that all the way back to NAFTA when Bill Clinton was in office. Okay, he signed NAFTA and he sent all our jobs across to overseas. And what happened with that? That destroyed what was left of our manufacturing stateside. And ever since NAFTA, more and more of our jobs have gone overseas. It wasn't until Trump's first presidency that they started to try to focus on bringing some of those jobs back. Now, what do we even do about that now, right? Now, since Trump's done that, and after Biden's tenure in office, I don't remember Biden really doing much to do one or the other thing. You know, they tried to push under the Biden administration this, what was it called? What was the infrastructure package called? I don't think it had a name, just an infrastructure package or whatever it was called. Anyway, they pushed that and nothing really materialized about over that. So that was kind of trash. And we still got roads and highways and stuff that's all tore up and messed up. And that money went where? I don't exactly know, you know, but billions and billions of dollars. I think it ended up being a $500 billion or something ridiculous. I don't remember exactly how much money after the end of everything was finalized ended up actually going into the infrastructure package. It might have ended up being a couple $1 trillion. Who even knows anymore? There's just so much going on in spending, and a lot of the stuff ends up with higher end cost runs. So there has to be more money that's spent out over longer time, or construction and work just doesn't get done. Like in California with those trains to nowhere, right? Where's that high speed rail? They, after 10 years, they spent what? $30 billion or something like that. And they only got like 10 miles of track laid. These are the conversations that we need to have. We need to talk about these things. We need to talk about reshoring our energy. We need to talk about reshoring our manufacturing, and we need to talk about retooling our education system so people can get these jobs. We've got great companies like Ford and Boeing and what's it called? Anduril. They're a armament company. They do defense, and a number of other companies that are trying to hire people here in the US, and they're like, they just don't have the skills that we need in the US for our production. I was watching a lady that works for a defense contractor. I forget which one, a smaller one, but still. And she was like, well, we need more engineers. We just don't have enough engineers to hire. And she said they need something like 8,000 engineers that just apparently don't exist in the United States. And she said that it's going to take like 10, 15 years for them to end up being able to produce that many engineers. I said, oh man, that's kind of crazy. But you know what we could do? If we retooled our education system, we can actually use those people that are about to get out of high school to actually train them to be the engineers that these jobs need. These companies need engineers. So why are we not training people for the positions directly? See, now people will say, oh, well, the education system, this education system, that. Let me tell you about the education system real quick. The whole purpose and intention of the education system is to make it so that people can be productive members of society. But if they're graduating people that can't get jobs, we look at the statistics, we're talking about 87% of college graduates get a degree and they never even work in their field ever. There's something seriously wrong with that picture. But we've got companies. I was watching Ford the other day. They said that they need 5,000 workers ASAP. They said that they need all types of machinists and this and that and the third. And I said, oh man, I said, you know what? You could really train some people to do that. But people don't want to have that conversation, because what's happened is, since I'd say probably about the 60s, we've reimagined what the workforce looks like. And whenever you hear something about, oh, a 13-year-old is working or a 14-year-old is working, now all of a sudden it's a problem. I've been working since before I was 13. I got my work permit when I was 13, but I've been working before that because my stepfather was a contractor and I was always with him doing some type of nonsense. And I don't mean nonsense, like it was good trade labor and skilled labor, but I'm not a contractor. I can do the contracting stuff now because I have those skills, but that's just not the type of career or the job that's for me. But now I have those skills. I'm thankful for those skills. I'm not thankful for the knee for the nail that went into my leg. That was kind of painful. LOL, but it is a core memory. That happened when I was like 5. But that was my fault. I was out playing in the snow and I landed on a nail that was underneath the snow. So anyway, but stuff like that happens. And we need to understand that you used to be able to become an apprentice when you were like 12, 13. Sometimes even younger than that. And you used to be able to go into the family business. Now they try to discourage people from even going into their family business and starting to work there. But we see all of these foreigners come over here overseas, and they've got all of their kids, 5, 10 years old, working in their corner stores. So if all these Saracens are out here, got these people working in their stores that are their cousins and their brothers and their kids and stuff like that, how come we don't as American citizens? You know what I'm saying? All of these Saracens do whatever they want, while at the same time, we as American citizens get chastised for doing something similar. Well, you explain to me why these Saracens can have their children not go to school and work in the family business, but if I want my child to work in my family business and not go to school, then there's a problem with that. Can we have an honest conversation? Isn't school supposed to prepare you for the labor force? Is that not what the point of school is? Because if that's not the point of school, maybe we've gotten away from the necessity for an education system at all. Because why is it even important? When we know that, especially where I live in New York State, and especially in my city, we're graduating people, 75, 80% of them can't read. On paper. Like, these are the numbers on paper. So imagine what the numbers really are. Like, can we have that conversation? So the kids graduating can't even get a job anyway. So why can't we have them the schools partner with different companies when they're in high school, when they're 9th grade, you know what I'm saying? As they've shown in middle school, say, oh, well, I like this, I like that. Well, maybe try different career paths. That way, by the time they're in high school, they can really start working in a career development field. We can also hasten the number of doctors and nurses and stuff like that we have, because who is going to school for 12, 16 years to be a doctor? Nobody wants that. Then you're all old and you're all tired and you're all mad. Because now you've gone through all of this stuff. You've incurred all of this debt. Why? You look at other countries, even European countries. Some of their doctors only have to be there for like 4 years and they can go out and practice. What are we doing? You go to some countries, they got nurses out there that are 16 years old, like proficient in the skill. What are we doing as a nation? And people will say, oh, well, youth labor or whatever the case is. Okay, you about to be old real soon. And there are not enough people to go into the labor force. Now, here's the key about that. When there are not enough people to go into the labor force, that means that we need more automation. Now, back to what I was talking about earlier with these different defense contractors and companies like Ford and stuff like that desperately need to hire people. They're like, oh, well, we're automating more and more and more because we just can't find the people to work. Make it make sense. Then we wonder why 40 million people, 42 million people are on social services. Because the good paying jobs, the jobs that pay more money, they're not educated for. And that's not the fault of the people. Like, there are some people, oh, those people are, that group of people is incompetent. You mad at the people that live in the trailer park because the education system failed them? You mad because the people in the hood and the education system failed them? So the people in the trailer park and the people in the hood can't get good jobs. But now little Susie that lives in the suburbs can't even get a good job. Why? Why is that? Because the schools are not teaching the skills that are needed. You used to go out and be able to go into factory work or whatever, and you'd be able to have a solid career path. They're still looking for people for these careers. We've got all of these companies. I want you to take 2 seconds, hit the share button, hit the like button if you're online. It doesn't cost you nothing. Share this out there, get this message out there, because we need to have more important conversations. And if you haven't liked or shared, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get these messages out there. So as we talk about these fields, we have to recognize and understand that more than anything nowadays, more than anything, we need workers for the American workforce. If we don't have workers in the American workforce, then who's going to do the labor? Nobody's going to do the labor. That leads to one of three things. Either we have to bring people from overseas into the country, or things get automated, or the jobs go away completely and the companies go away completely. And that hurts our economy completely. Like, these are the conversations we need to have, but nobody wants to have these conversations. And I hear all these people, we need to rethink and reimagine this and reimagine that. That's the problem. Too much rethinking, too much reimagining. We need to go back, because the way that it was working before, traditionally, was good. You know, you got people with names that are, if you look up the origin and the disambiguation of their name, it means like cobbler, like the person that does the shoes. It means like tradesman, like the person that does trading from city to city. You know, like that's how people got their names, from the trades that they had. A lot of people have their last names mean different things like that. You know, it's funny. I was listening to somebody on a show from India, you know, and the guy's last name was Pushkar. And they were like, well, where is that name from? Right. You know, and it kind of sounds like something that could be Indian or whatever the case is. And come to find out, the last name comes from because the family used to push a cart because they were traders. And I'm like, that's funny, but it's also legit, you know? So I found that to be interesting, but we don't think about things like that. There aren't many people out there that have a family business. You see some people that might be in a family business, like lawyers or some doctors or some firemen, military, stuff like that. But you don't see many other skilled trade professionals that go into the same type of fields. Occasionally, you might see the son of a contractor go into contracting, occasionally, but usually a plumber's son doesn't become a plumber anymore. You know, a machinist's son doesn't become a machinist. You know, these practices just aren't being transferred on to the next generation. And then we wonder why so many people are out of positions. Because they lied to all the children and told them that they need to go to school and they need to get a degree in the fine arts and Greco-Roman literature. Where are you going to get a job with that? Nowhere. Oh, you should be a laureate of what do you call that? Communist Marxist history. How many jobs are there for that? You know what I'm saying? How many jobs? Like 2 in the whole country? Like, these are the problems, you know? Nobody is getting jobs in their field. Like we said, 87% of the people who graduate never get a job in their field. Make it make sense. Drop a comment below, get in the conversation, and we'll pop your comment up on screen. Okay, I see somebody popped a comment. Amen. I see you there. Drop a comment, you guys. I'll pop your comment on screen and be part of the conversation. Let's have these conversations, because these are important conversations. So now I want to go back to the labor conversation for a second. Why is labor law even an important issue, right? If the youth is being paid a fair wage, what's the problem? You know? And then you get these people that say, oh, well, a kid should stay a kid. What does that even mean? Human children are small adults, right? Like, they're young adults, you know, stuff like that. Human children are not kids. Kids are baby goats. And I don't think that baby goats are the smartest animal in the world. That's just me. Why are we minimizing our children and their capacity, especially when each and everybody listening and anybody you talk to will agree, the younger you are, the faster you learn. So why are we minimizing their capacity to learn? Why are we stealing away a brighter future for them, especially knowing that the entire retirement age is getting higher and higher and higher and higher? They're trying to raise the retirement age right now because there aren't enough people working. And there aren't enough children. So there aren't even enough children coming up in the future to take more jobs, to pay into things like Social Security and Medicaid and stuff like that. So there are going to be massive cuts in the future, not because people want to cut, but because cuts are necessary. And nobody wants to have a conversation about that because that's not popular to say. But we need to start having those conversations. How can we avoid those issues? And it starts by us getting people trained up and into the fields that are needed. We got hundreds of thousands of jobs available right now. Hundreds of thousands of jobs. I think they just said that the economy added like 310,000 jobs or something. I don't know what the number is for the last quarter or most recently right now, because the quarter's not closed quite yet. But where are those jobs? I don't see them. I don't see them. You know, you go around your neighborhood, you say, well, where are these jobs that have been created? Most of them are online in another state or another city or somewhere else. It's not nearby you. But there are jobs that are hiring for technical jobs or for hands-on jobs that you can get in your area. Now, you explain to me why the people in these areas aren't able to go get these jobs. And it's because they don't have the skills, because the skills were not taught in the education system. And you got to ask yourself, well, why were those skills not taught in the education system? Because everything is pushed so that you do it after high school. Well, who is minimizing the children, okay, and who is minimizing the youth so that they're not able to provide for themselves? When you talk to these people that are on the left nowadays, they'll say, oh, well, if you want the youth to do something, you got to pay them to do something. Then you can get a job if you got to pay them to do something anyway. Make it make sense to me. Like, those will be the same people that'll say, oh, well, you shouldn't have the youth working. What? They need to get paid to go to programs, but you don't want to have them work so that they can get paid? Who's stupid? Like, these are the questions and the conversations that we need to start having, because we are in desperate need of a workforce. Desperate need. If these companies are telling us we're 10, 15 years out of having these people work, we have a problem. We have a problem. That's a whole generation. And I know a generation is generally considered about 20 to 30 years, but 10, 15 years, that's a generation. What jobs are there going to be for the younger millennials and for the Gen Z? We look at the economy right now, most of them can't get a job. Somebody made a comment. Let's see what the comment is. Let's see. It says, I'm sorry, the screen it's not popping up big, so I can't see it good. Let's see. It says, hey, Marcus, sorry I haven't been around your live, but I've been listening, my brother. You're the only one making sense in the city, man. Man, does this city need a ton of help? Amen to that. I appreciate you greatly. Who's that? Luke? Luke, good to see you again, good brother. I know you've been missing you for a little bit. If you guys are listening right now, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed or following already, and definitely share this out. Share it with your friends, however you can share it. Either share the link on your page or just hit the retweet or the share on Facebook if that's where you're watching us. Or you can copy the link and share it wherever you want on any social media. But these are the conversations we need to have, because if we're not having these type of conversations about workforce development, what are we doing? I look at our state right now, and we've got all this money for workforce development, and nobody's ever getting a job. I don't know anybody getting a job for any of all this workforce development money. Hundreds of millions of dollars, $300 million, $350 million. What is going on? Where are these jobs? Then we got projects like the Micron factory not far from here. Micron factory is supposed to be done like a year ago. Now they're talking about it's going to be delayed another 18 months. We got a ton of other factories that were supposed to materialize that never even really happened. I can't even remember. There was just a battery. Maybe it was, what was it? Lie something. Drop a comment if you know what it was called. It was Lie something. Li something. Lion or something. I can't remember what the name of the battery company was supposed to be, to build this giant battery factory not far from here. And the battery factory never materialized. The company had to sell off the thing. Now somebody else bought into the investment or whatever the case is. Now they're talking about they're probably not even going to continue it. Then we had the plug power plant that was supposed to happen. I guess it happened. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what's going on with that. Again, who's got the jobs for these factories that allegedly are supposed to be being built? Or that are being built, you know? The only thing that I know is being built that's actually getting built up here is the what's it called? The Fairlife plant, where they do the milk and stuff. which is kind of makes sense because up here we got a lot of cows and stuff like that, even though Governor Kathy is trying to mess it up and limit the number of cows and stuff that you can actually have. So that's a whole nother crazy kerfuffle right there. But can we have these important conversations? And the answer is nobody really wants to have these important conversations about how we're going to stabilize our economy, about how we're going to stabilize our workforce, and about the long-term impacts if we don't take action now. It's so important that we take action now. Again, all of these companies are hiring and they don't have the skilled labor to do it. So let the companies train the youth to do the freaking jobs. Like, it's not a complicated concept. Like, that's what used to happen. Companies used to train youth to do the jobs. They used to be able to have internships and stuff like that, and apprenticeships and stuff like that. But now they're like, oh, well, you got to be 18 years old or whatever the case, or out of high school or whatever to do these things and stuff like that. Who's stupid? Are you saying that our children are stupid, even though we know that the younger you are, the faster you learn? Are you telling me that thousands and thousands of years of history of craftsmen has been wrong? That them actually training the youth when they're starting at like the age of 12 as an apprentice so that they can be a fully out there mason or plumber or tradesman or what do people call it? Or machinist or blacksmith or any of these things? Like, why are we not having these very serious conversations? Like, I don't understand how we've got tied up in this age range situation. Like, it's just been over the last couple of decades that we've stopped doing prearranged marriages when youth would get married. And I know this is because of the expansion and of the footprint, like people moved outside the community and stuff like that. So there are less people, there's a smaller pot. And travel and stuff like that because of jobs. Again, it all goes back to jobs. Everything has changed in society because of jobs, where the jobs are and the job access. So, but youth used to get married, even if you go to back to the 80s and the 70s, 18 years old, they just fresh out of high school, they're getting married. They're establishing something for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You go back to the 50s, you're talking about, oh, well, 16, 17 is getting married. You know, like, this isn't uncommon. And we have to understand why. People say, oh, well, people died sooner than, and this, that, and the third. Well, y'all out here killing babies left and right. So are we supposed to be having infants married now? Like, I mean, like, how are we going to have a conversation like that? That sounds kind of crazy to me. So we need to have real conversations about real situations. But we've gone so far away from classical society that we can't have those conversations. Why? Because perish the thought that a 17-year-old works for themselves, has their own home, can supply for their own needs, and do for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Perish the thought there. We got a history of 13-year-olds in World War I, World War II signing up to go to war. 13-year-old. And you'll say, oh, well, the draft age wasn't that low or whatever. It wasn't, but they did it. I appreciate you. I see you there shaking up Rochester. Just said they love it. Yep. So drop a comment if you want to be part of the conversation, you guys. Okay. And we'll get the comment posted up on the thing, and hit the like and hit the share button and get the message out there. Don't cost you nothing. So as we have these important conversations, we look back at the founding of our country. You had little 8, 10 years old out there playing the drums and stuff like that, and the piccolo in front of the army, people getting blown up left, right, and center, and all this and all that. Most of the founders in our nation were in their teens or early 20s. The founders of our nation were in their early 20s. Kind of makes you, if you're 20 years old, you're kind of like, well, what did I do with my life? If they're founding a nation at 23, you know? You got Alexander the Great, you know, what he's conquesting India at, how old was he? 24? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, these are the conversations, and people will say, oh, well, that was a different time. No, that's because we minimize our youth. We stunt our youth. Okay, we legitimately, by definition of the word, retard our youth. Retard, to hold back, to prevent growth, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what the definition of the word is. Okay? Like, this is crazy. What are we doing? And when we do that to the youth, we hurt our future. So I want to ask you a question. If this is what's happening with the youth, and the youth can't get the jobs, and then that means the jobs have to get automated or they have to go away, where's the money going to come from to take care of the elderly? But worse than that, where's the money going to come from to take care of them? And you wonder why there's 42 million people on social services right now for SNAP. Because where is the resources for them? How are they going to be able to provide for themselves? They clearly can't provide for themselves because the whole system is set up and rigged against them. All of this ridiculous talk, let a kid be a kid, stay out of grown folks' business, all of this nonsense, it minimizes our children, it stunts their growth, and it holds them back from being productive members of society. And we're the only country, well, I mean, I guess you could say a lot of Western nations, but really the United States is one of the only countries that does that stuff. You go over to other countries, people are craftsmen, artisan, tradespeople at much younger ages, in their teens. But can we have that conversation? I see Sinclair John. I see you there. I appreciate you. Can we have these conversations? What are we doing to our future and the youth? See, and there's two aspects. I should say three aspects. You got the youth, which won't be able to get jobs, and there will be no money for them, and they'll have to be dependent on the government. You got the people in the middle right now that are already dependent on the government, and their money, or are working, and their money can barely buy them anything. Okay, then you got the elders, which should be able to retire, but because the value of the money is worth so little, they can't even retire. Or you got the people that are retired, and all the nursing homes and everybody is bilking them dry because they don't have the family members to actually take care of them like we used to take care of our elders traditionally in the family. Because why? We've been encouraged to break up the family. Now, can we have a real conversation about that? But no, that'd be too much like right. Let's see. We got another. Somebody else made a comment. Let's see. It says, John Sinclair, we start putting funds together as nation of colored people and keep money in our system to govern our own society. John, this is the type of concept that I'm talking about, but on the scale of the nation itself. So this is exactly what we're talking about. We started the whole conversation talking about the money isn't circulating in our nation because everybody wants cheap goods. So we're buying materials and we're hiring people from outside of the country, and the money is all going overseas. We got all these immigrants over here. I'm not even talking about the illegals, right? Just talking about the immigrants. We got all these immigrants over here sending money back to their country. Sending money back to their country. Trump tried to put I believe it would start off at 3%, 3% tax on any funds that got sent out of the country. That was smart. That was absolutely smart, and it should have been implemented. But then I think they knocked it down to 1% in Congress. That's ridiculous. It should be 5%, to be honest, or maybe even 10%. Because why are you sending our money outside our country? Every dollar that you send out is a dollar that's not here, which weakens our dollar. Hello? Make it make sense to me. Come on now. People, we need to have real conversations about this. So yes, John, you're talking about keeping the money in circulation inside. That's what we need to do. This is so important. So important. So important. But we can't have these type of conversations because they don't want us to have these conversations. They'll say, oh, well, what do you call it? Oh, well, you're protectionist, or oh, well, you're nationalist, or oh, well, you don't care about other countries, or oh, well, you're this or you're that, or I don't care what you call me. I do not live in another country. I live here in the United States of America. I do not have family in from other countries, I should say. I think I do have some family that recently moved to some other countries in the last couple of decades, but I don't have any family that's from there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to send no money overseas. I don't think any of our money should be going overseas unless it's for currency exchange rates. Like, and our dollar is getting weaker because we need to be stocking up on gold as a nation and using that to back our currency like China is. While we still do have the largest supply and largest quantity of any nation of gold in the world, even though we don't know how much gold is in Fort Knox right now, we won't talk about that right now because that's something that needs to be investigated. But the fact of the matter is we don't know what's going to happen with our currency. Why? Because people keep sending our currency outside of the country. So if they send the currency outside of the country, then our dollar is worth less, okay? And soon our dollar will be worthless. Let's have that conversation. If it was up to me, there would 100% be a 25% tax on any money that's sent out of the country. Stop sending the money out of the country. Stop that. Stop doing that. And people say, oh, well, it's to help their family and this, that, and the third. Man, you know how many homeless people are outside right now? Right here in 5 block radius, I've seen just coming into the office today, I've seen about 10, 15 homeless people. And this isn't even like Skid Row. You know what I'm saying? Stop it. Sending money out of the country. Stop playing in my face. You know how many homeless of school age children there are? In my city alone, it's over 2,000. Like, can we have that conversation? You know how many food insecure people there are? 1 in 8 in my city are food insecure. 55% are housing insecure in my city. And you telling me about some other country? I couldn't give a lick of spit about another country. No offense to nobody. Like, we need to work on establishing our country and fixing our country. You can call me whatever you want, a nationalist, protectionist, or this or that or the third. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me at somebody that doesn't care about my nation or my people. You know, like, these are very important conversations that we need to be having. But people don't want to have these conversations. And it's so tragic that we can't have these conversations. And you need to ask yourself why. Real quick, I want to thank you. Right now, you are listening to Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. We are here in your ear having the conversations that you need to hear. We are here from 2:30 to 4 p.m. every Monday. So tune in. All right. Now, let's get back to it, because these are the important conversations, right? Like, if we don't talk about monetary policy, which is the next subject that we need to get into, if we don't talk about monetary policy, what are we doing, right? Because this is all about, today we're talking about jobs, we're talking about the economy, we're talking about finance, because this is important, because the dollar isn't stretching as far as it used to. And that's because we don't have the jobs here in this country. We don't have the sourcing right here in this country. And that's why we need to restore that. So hit the like button, hit the share button. It doesn't cost you nothing. Drop a comment, even if it's just a thumbs up or a flag, or you agree with me or something. Drop that comment, because every comment helps the algorithm to kick it out to more people. So as we have these important conversations like this, we have to ask ourselves, what's going on with our monetary policy? We just had the president talk about, oh, he wants to do a 50-year mortgage. That's outrageous. You remember what happened when they did the 30-year mortgage? The 30-year mortgage was a scheme anyway against the people. The 30-year mortgage hurt our country more than anything in recent history. And we had a lot of things, but all of this stuff really came under Lyndon B. Johnson. Don't get me started on him. You guys know, if you listen to my show often, it always ends up going back to Lyndon B. Johnson, because he's the bane of the existence of pretty much everything that we're suffering right now in modern America. Like, he made everything way worse for us. But the 30-year mortgage specifically, what it did was it prevented the housing prices from going down. Right now, we're having an issue where people say, oh, well, the housing prices are very high. Well, the housing prices are falling now because we're getting rid of all of these illegal aliens. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. That's what these people from Zwillow and Blackstone and BlackRock, that's what all of these people that own all of these properties are out there saying. You know, and this is important to note, because people say, oh, well, this and that and the third. Dude, illegal aliens have a lot of impact on our economy and on our housing market and on the cost of goods and on the cost of expenses that gets paid out by social welfare. Like, these are serious conversations we need to have. But anyway, since the illegal aliens are getting kicked out, now they're they've opened up millions of more houses are available. So now the housing market, the rental prices and the housing prices are starting to go down in many areas, especially many very populous areas. Go look it up. Don't take my word for it. Listen, I tell people all the time, don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. I'm going out of my way to tell you. And I encourage you, whenever I say something like that, you can go look it up. Go look it up. That's why I'm telling you, because these things are important to know and understand. So as we have this part of the conversation that the housing market right now is starting to go down, you have to ask yourself, if the housing market is going down, if interest rates are going down, okay, why would we need a 50-year mortgage? And people say, oh, well, it's to make it so it's more affordable. To make it so it's more affordable, but prices are dropping. But if you make a 50-year mortgage, that means that people won't feel the need to drop the prices because people will be able to extend the payout amount even further, which means that their payments will be less, which means that they're more likely to buy something that costs more that they normally wouldn't buy, because why not? They can pay longer over time. But if they don't have that as an option, that means that it won't get sold. And if it doesn't get sold, that means what happens? It drops in price. It drops in price. So this 50-year mortgage is going to handicap and kneecap the future of our housing market. That means prices won't go down. And everybody wants prices to go down. If it was up to me, I'd be like, get rid of the 30-year mortgage too. You know what I'm saying? There'd have to be some real serious talks on the economic impact of that, because you couldn't do that all at one time and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. We probably wouldn't end up getting rid of it completely. We'd probably end up restructuring the way in which it works. But still, again, it's about the value of the dollar and the buying power of the dollar. It's always about the buying power of the dollar. You got to remember that. Everything's about the buying power. How much is the value of the buying power? And these are the conversations that we need to have. But people don't want to have those conversations, you know? Now, going back to the housing market, the prices starting to cool off. Well, I'm telling you right now, even if they don't do a 50-year mortgage, this is what we're going to see. The rental prices in various markets are starting to decrease, okay? But what's going to happen is the housing prices are not going to decrease on the low end, okay? They're not going to decrease on the low end. We'll see a decrease in the middle to high end, but the low end is going to stay right about where it is. That's why we need to make sure that they don't implement a 50-year mortgage, because if they implement a 50-year mortgage, that's going to discourage dropping the middle and the high end costs of housing. And if they do that, that means the lower range of housing is never going to go down. It's never going to go down. Right now, we are facing a housing crisis, not the way that they try to make it seem like there's not enough houses. We have an overabundance of houses. Why do we have an overabundance of houses? Well, that's because nobody's having kids. If you look at we're below replacement rate right now. I think it's we're below 1.8. It's really like 1.18. You know, they say it's 1.8. It's not. It's definitely not. I don't know where they get those lies from. It's more like 1.1.8. So we've got a serious issue with replacement rate. So if all the old people are dying and not enough young people are being born, who's bought up all these houses? We know the baby boom was called the baby boom because it was a lot of them born all at one time. But Gen X didn't have that many kids in it. And millennials didn't have that many youth in it. And now Gen Z doesn't have hardly nobody in it. And Gen Alpha barely exists. But, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? When you tell me that we've got too many houses, but I know for a fact we don't have enough people, I'm going to ask you questions. But not enough people want to ask questions, you know? And now that we're getting rid of the illegal aliens, we've got an overabundance of housing. But we can't have those conversations because people don't want to point out the real facts that are being discussed, that everybody knows are there, if you go and you listen and look for the information. So all they're doing is selling you a lie. They're selling you a dream. They're selling you stuff that's not real. But I'm here to tell you, you guys, don't fall for the flim flam. These 50-year mortgages, it's a lie. It's a trap. It's a con. Okay. It's one of those things that sound good, but it's not good. and we deserve better. And that ain't going to get us where we need to be. That is part of the whole World Economic Forum, the whole elite plan, where they want you to own nothing and be happy. But you'll never be happy. That's the trick. You'll never be happy because you won't own anything. It's going to be a subscription for everything. They've already got it where if you have a BMW, they're charging you for your for your subscription for heated seats. That's right. If you have a BMW right now, a newer model, they'll charge you for your subscription monthly for heated seats. If you have a car with a turbo, that's a more higher end car, they charge you to unlock the turbo function on your engine monthly. Make it make sense to me. Okay, because they don't want you to own anything. And this is all trickling down. This is why you don't own music anymore. You got to pay for a subscription. You don't own movies anymore. You got to pay for a subscription. You don't own video games anymore. You got to pay for a subscription. You know, it's crazy. And in some cases, for some of these video games, you got to pay for the subscription for the game. Then you got to pay for the subscription for the service to play the game. That's bananas to me. You know? Like if you got Xbox, you got to buy the game, then you got to pay for the season, then you got to pay for your Xbox Gold, Xbox Live. You know, like what? Like what are we doing here? Hit the share button, hit the like button, hit the heart button, get this message out there. We got to have these conversations because these are the important conversations facing our nation that we need to have every single day that are not being had. And if we don't have those conversations now, nothing will change, nothing will be done. Period, point blank. And nobody's having these serious conversations. Where are these serious conversations being had? You know, like this is something that's affecting our area here where I live in Rochester, something that's affecting our state, something that's affecting our county, and something that's affecting our nation. We must stand up and demand good monetary policy, good plans for our future, and a way that is actually a path to employment for the youth. Because otherwise, they're going to be relying on the government for everything. Otherwise, you as an elder is going to be relying on the government for everything. Because the jobs are going away. If you look at McDonald's, you look at Taco Bell, right now, we got Taco Bells and McDonald's that are completely automated. They don't got not one person in there, except maybe you got one person that comes in once a day to check the machines and load the buns. Like, this isn't a joke. This is serious. This is what we're facing right now. And that takes out all of the entry-level jobs, y'all. All of the entry-level jobs are under threat. They got vending machines where you can buy everything from the vending machine like it's a corner store. You know what I'm saying? You got stores that, because of all of the theft and the crime and stuff like that, like, for instance, Rite Aid or Walgreens in California, like the whole store is blocked off. It's one little counter where you just pick up your goods that you already pre-ordered. These are jobs that are going away. Like, people need to wake up, and that can be automated away. We already got the automation at Walmart where they got the little machines. Have you ever seen the machines at Walmart that go around scanning the aisles, checking how many goods are there? They've even got some at some Walmarts where you might see they're picking the items off of the shelves, the machines. Like, we need to have a real serious conversation. And it's becoming more and more common. If you go into a restaurant, even like Denny's, it's more common for you to have a waiter for your table that's bringing out your food. That's a robot. That's a job, y'all. Like, are we thinking this through? I don't think that we are. All the entry-level jobs are largely going to be gone. So that means, where are these youth going to work that don't have the skills? Where are these entry-level people going to work? Nowhere. They don't got nowhere to work. What's going to happen to them? They're either going to fall through the cracks or become dependent on the government. We are not thinking this through. And we need to have a serious conversation about this. But most people don't want to have a serious conversation about this. This is why I'm so concerned. I don't know what to do, frankly, if more people don't hear the sound of my voice. Honestly. That's why I like being able to have this conversation with you on a weekly basis about the important things that are going on, because they're not having these important conversations. And I could fill up an hour talking on any one of these topics. Like, this is so, so, so important. But before that, I want to talk about Venezuela. What's going on in Venezuela? We got ships over there in Venezuela. We got, well, by Venezuela in Puerto Rico and what do you call it? Not Guyana, but Trinidad and Tobago. And we got ships over there. We got jets over there. We got some Marines over there. We got the what do you call them? The Coast Guard over there. Also, a lot of y'all don't have enough respect for the Coast Guard. Okay, the Coast Guard be doing really woolly bully stuff, son. Like if you guys knew what a lot of these coastal operations that they did, like they're hardcore. Like I used to think that the Coast Guard was just woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. But a lot of those Coast Guard people be doing some real serious stuff. That's a whole nother episode. But anyway, so it looks like we might go kinetic war with Venezuela to get Maduro out. They just gave the lady that's his opposition some sort of a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know why they gave her a Nobel Peace Prize, because they wanted to make her popular on the world stage like Zelensky, I guess. I don't know, some other way for us to requisition resources from those countries, empower the elites, and disempower the people. I don't know. As much as I love my country, I'm not stupid, and we need to have open and serious debate and conversation. Oh, Maduro's a socialist. Absolutely. I don't think that he's pretty much a good guy. I don't know him personally, but I do see the struggle coming from his country, and I know people that are Venezuelan that tell me about the struggle from the country that they just recently left. So I can see that there are some very serious issues there through the leadership. The same thing with Cuba. Like people are like, oh, the U.S. is the problem because they've got an embargo with Cuba. All the other countries are dealing with Cuba. It's just us that aren't dealing with Cuba. Like, are you serious? Like our problem, it's not our problem that Cuba's economy is jacked up the way it is. Look at all the other countries that do business with Cuba. If all the other countries are doing business with Cuba, what's the problem with their economy? Make it make sense. It's the leadership. Now, I don't know if we go into Venezuela and start blowing up stuff, really. They'll probably just have the CIA go in there and do some replacement nonsense and curry some people to overthrow the government or whatever the case is. Who knows? We'll see what ends up happening. We tried to take Maduro out a couple of times already. Did not work out the way we wanted it to, but we'll see what happens. And I don't think that we should be over there in Venezuela. Honestly, I know Venezuela's struggling. I know it's a problem for us. Also, Venezuela, by the way, and I've done this, if you go back some years on my shows and stuff like that, I've talked about Venezuela before and how they have Hezbollah camps, training camps there. Like, so that stuff is just now starting to get to the news, but I've been talking about that for years. Like, so that is a fact. And even though they're not talking about it a lot right now, that needs to be part of the conversation. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It doesn't cost you anything. And drop a comment. All the comments help the algorithm to show it to more people. So as we have these important conversations, let's jump back into Venezuela real quick. What are we doing? We got a massive amount of power over there right now. Are we going to overthrow their government with our military? Why? Are we going to incorporate Venezuela into the United States of America? No, we're not going to do that. And we ain't got no business. We ain't got no business. I'm not saying I want to incorporate Venezuela into the United States of America, but if we're going over there, we ain't got no business going over there unless we're going to incorporate it into the United States. Now, I'm not big on war, but I do like war. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man, I'm also a defense person. I really like the defense industry, weapons and stuff like weapons technology, stuff like that. But I don't think we should be going to war with anybody if we're not taking the territory. That's stupid to me. And then our soldiers can't even get spoils of war. That's really ridiculous. If I was in charge, they'd be able to get spoils of war. You deserve to keep what you kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's been the history of military conquest. Like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we depriving our soldiers? And then they get back here and they're treated all raw. Like, that doesn't make no sense to me. That's crazy. But back to the thing with Venezuela, we don't got no business. We don't got no business doing that, y'all. And I'm not saying that Maduro shouldn't be taken out. I'm just saying I don't know that it's going to benefit the average everyday American to take him out. And if so, how much? Is there a better way for us to go about it? Should we annex Venezuela? Like, these are the conversations that I think that we should really have. Maybe we should annex Venezuela. I don't know. I know enough about it to make me more knowledgeable than most people about what's going on in Venezuela and the troop movements and what's going on in the economy and what's going on with their government and stuff like that. But still, I don't know enough to know if we should or not. But it looks like to me we're about to use a whole bunch of military force because at least we're trying to scare them. We're blowing up ships and stuff that we're saying are from drug traffickers. I don't care, man. That doesn't make me know. Never mind. And it probably should be like, well, what are we doing? Is kind of extrajudicial. I don't. Is it foreign or is it domestic? Because if it's foreign, I'm America only. Y'all can blow up whoever y'all want. I don't think that you should necessarily, but it's not to never mind about me. You know what I'm saying? So we really need to start asking these questions. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And is it benefiting the everyday citizen? If it's not, we shouldn't be doing it. Is it putting the risk of our livelihood of our lives of our soldiers out there? Are they at risk? Like, do you think that the Venezuelan military is just going to curl up into a little ball if we start blowing them up? Are we going to blow them up? Because we don't really have enough munitions right now. So that's a whole nother conversation that we really need to have, that we don't have enough munitions. We've talked about that on this show before. I've given you guys the reports from the military, from the Defense Department, all before, about how we don't have enough ammunition. We don't have enough artillery. We don't have enough missiles. We don't have enough, what do you call them? What do you call those? I guess those are still missiles, right? No, torpedoes. We don't have enough this. We don't have enough that. We don't even got enough bullets, which is a whole nother crazy thing. Where all the bullets go? That's a question, you know. But these are the conversations we need to be having. Then we look at places like Ukraine. I'm telling you right now, Zelensky's about to be out of there real soon. Because if you've been watching the last couple of weeks, a lot of his aides and his generals and his department heads and stuff have been going down for corruption. He's the most corrupt person that's over there. So they're setting up a way to get him out of office sooner rather than later. And eventually, I figure the people will probably revolt against him, even though it's mostly only the women over there. Even I think the wealthy will end up starting to revolt against him. Somebody will put something in his drink or something, and he'll be gone. But he's looking to escape possibly to another country, even the U.S., because he's got some properties over here. They've been going on a buying spree of property. They got some property in France and stuff like that. Southern France, where's that? Yeah, that's southern France. So he's got properties all over the world. But he used to just be a comedian. But now he's got properties all over the world after he got into office. And now he's just shut down all people that would have a different voice than him, shut down radio stations, shut down any other type of dissent, shut down TV channels, shut out any voices that might have anything to say against him and the corruption that he's perpetrating, both maybe. I don't know. But you know, the thing is that where are all the weapons that go over there? They're nowhere to be found. They always begging. We need more weapons. We need more weapons. But we know that Ukraine is selling the weapons to foreign countries. They're selling our weapons that we're giving them to fight this war against Russia to other countries. You make it make sense. Then let me talk trash about somebody for a minute. Mike Pompeo, you scuzz bucket. Okay, Mike Pompeo is over there now. He's on the board of directors of a Ukrainian defense company. What are you doing over there, Mike Pompeo? What are you doing now? If you guys know Mike Pompeo, he used to be what was it, Secretary of State? I believe it was Secretary of the State. Okay, Secretary of State. He also was the head of the CIA. What are you doing on a foreign board for a military contractor? Make it make sense to me. I don't know how that's legal. That should be illegal. That sounds very problematic. Okay? Make that make sense. Hit the share button, hit the like button, drop a comment. Be part of the conversation. Mike Pompeo ain't got no business being on the board of no foreign defense company, especially not in Ukraine. Stop playing in my face. This is ridiculous what's going on. It's really ridiculous. And speaking of foreign countries and different heads going to different places, what the heavens was Kash Patel doing in China? Why is the director of the FBI in China? The director of the FBI ain't got no business in China. I love Kash Patel, y'all, but he ain't got no business in China. That seems real scuzzy to me. We don't have that type of relationship with China. Why is our FBI director over there? He's not the Secretary of State. He's not the Secretary of Commerce. He's the director of the FBI. China is our number one enemy on the face of the earth right now. Like, what are we doing? Why is our FBI director over there? It's very interesting where people are accusing his girlfriend, whatever her face is, of being a Mossad agent right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know one way or another. I don't care. There is something very suspicious there going on. I can't call it. But what is he doing over there in China right now? What are you doing? China don't mess with us like that. China don't even like us. China's trying to kill us all. He's like, yeah, we talked to China over there and we're getting it so that they can lower the precursor chemicals for the fentanyl. It's not your job, bro. What are you doing over there? What'd they give you? You know what I'm saying? Did they put something in your drink while you was over there? Are you a Manchurian candidate? Why are you over there? Like, we need to have that serious conversation. Like, our FBI director don't got no business in China. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? China doesn't cooperate with us on anything. They don't cooperate with us on intellectual property. They don't do it with anything that's international scams. They don't cooperate with anything that's international criminality or anything like that. The triad, none of that. Matter of fact, the triad is just another branch of the CCP. Like, they enable them, they let them be. They encourage them to do certain things. Like, but that's not an unknown. That's a fact of fact. And we need to really have these conversations. But nobody wants to have those conversations. And if we don't have them, nobody else is going to have them. So what are we really going to do? What are we really going to do? Now, here's the deal. If we don't stand up in our country and start calling a thing when we see it, because it's my team, we are going to have more and more serious problems. And that's what we're seeing right now with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Chip Roy and Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, where Trump is like, we're going to get them out of the office or whatever the case is. I haven't been the biggest fan of Marjorie for years, but I really wasn't a fan of her when she was like, oh, we need more people to come in with the H-1B1 visas. As you guys know, I'm very adamantly against bringing anybody from any foreign countries over here to work, especially with the H-1B visa program, when we know over 80% of them are being used for entry-level jobs. And that's not even the whole point of it. It's supposed to be for technical people. You know what I'm saying? But we already have L1 and E1 and all of these other different types of immigration here for work and stuff like that. We don't need the H1B program. We don't need that. We don't need that. It's full of corruption. It's taking too many jobs. End it. Cancel it tomorrow. And she said she's putting a bill out to slowly pull it back or whatever. And Trump got mad and was like, no, she's a traitor, whatever the case is. And now she was like, oh, release the Epstein files. She's been saying that for a while. In her defense, release the Epstein files, and Trump's not happy about that. Now Trump's out there. They'll release the Epstein files. Man, ain't nobody going to jail. Don't play in my face. These people playing in our faces. You know. Oh, let's see. Somebody said something. Somebody dropped a comment. Yeah. So these people out here playing in our faces. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Don't let these people play in your face just because it's your team. Then you got the Democrats running wild, running ransack nonsense. They got, what's her name? What's her face? What's her name? I don't know. Some crazy fool. What's it? It looked like Jasmine Crockett. I can't even remember. Talking about she's running for governor. Please stop it. Okay. I don't know if that actually was Jasmine Crockett. I just saw the video coming in today. I don't know if that was Jasmine Crockett, but somebody looked like Jasmine Crockett. But when you put on that much makeup, you can't even tell what somebody looked like to be regular anyway. That's a whole nother separate conversation, different episode. Now, if we don't do something about what's going on right now, nothing positive is going to come from it. Trump's attacking people that I guess other people would consider MAGA. I've never really considered myself MAGA because nobody could ever really tell me what that means as a group of individuals. I've always considered myself really America first, but I've gone from America first to America only. I've always been kind of America only, you know, but I'm really America only now. Like, I don't think that there should be any other countries that we're prioritizing. I don't care if the rest of the world falls off the map. It's America only. America first, last, only. There's nobody else that we need to worry about. Unless maybe it's turning another country to glass. Okay? Because they decided that they wanted to try to rise against us. That's another thing. We have this ridiculous nonsense with our war stance. Okay. I'm very much so against war. I tell you guys this all the time, but I am very much pro-military and pro-war at the same time. Like, I don't think we should be going out there starting conflicts and stuff like that. But I also don't think we should be letting these people talk smack out the side in the corner of their mouth and preparing up their military to build up to use their stuff against us. You know what I'm saying? And again, we shouldn't be over in no country unless we're taking it over and incorporating it into the United States of America. Again, that's what I got to say about that. These are the important conversations we need to have, but nobody wants to have these conversations. So, I mean, I don't know what to do, you guys. If we're not going to have these conversations, nobody else is going to have them. Nobody else is going to say anything. Nobody else is going to do anything. The Republican Party allegedly is divided right now because Nick Fuentes is all over the TV and all over these different podcasts, PVD, Patrick Bet David, what's his name? Tucker Carlson, and I've seen him some other places too, and everybody wants to talk about him. He's nothing more than a CIA asset or a Mossad asset, maybe both. I don't know who's running him, but he's very clearly an asset. I don't know if he was always an asset, but he very clearly now is an asset, okay? Because now he's going all mainstream all of the sudden, all of this and all of that. Stop playing with my face, yo. Stop it. Stop it. Stop taking a piss and telling me that it's raining. Like, this is crazy what's going on with Nick Fuentes right now. Just all of the sudden, out of nowhere, he's all popular all over the internet and all over these podcasts and stuff like that, when he is a racist, not quite a crackpot, right? Because a lot of the stuff that he says has veracity. But he's very clearly a racist, and he's very clearly got an undertone of something else going on there. Like, either it is that he doesn't believe what he's saying, or that he's being run by somebody else, or he's just saying it so that he can draw money from it. And I can't put my finger on it specifically, but over the last couple of weeks, he's definitely been co-opted. So y'all need to watch out for that. And I'm going to say this so that we can get this out on the air, okay? And I don't care what anybody thinks or what anybody says, okay? Like I said, I'm America only. I don't care about the rest of that nonsense. I don't care about no other countries, okay? This stuff with Israel, okay? Israel's government, right? Like, we talk about the U.S. government here. We can't talk about Israel. Like, they don't have a government that does stuff. Okay. You can talk about Trump or you can talk about Biden, but you can't talk about Netanyahu. Like, he doesn't do stuff. What is going on with that? Right? What is going on with that? Can we have that conversation? Now, let me be very clear about this. Okay. The people that run Israel, the elites in Israel, the government in Israel is exactly like the government in the U.S., the elites in the U.S., the elites in England, the elites in France, the government in France, the government in England, okay, and then the government in the rest of the European Union. But we can't question them. They're all working together. They're all working against the people. Stop playing in my face. Israel doesn't care about Israelis the same way that the U.S. don't care about U.S. citizens. The same way that England don't care about English citizens. Okay? The same way that France don't care about French citizens. As a matter of fact, you'll be hard-pressed to find one westernized country that actually cares about its citizens these days. Really? Seriously? The government? Show me one. Show me one. Because it's definitely not a European Union or the United States of America. As much as I love my country, y'all know how much I love my country. Okay? But can we have that conversation? No. Because whenever you question Israel or any of the people that back Israel or any of the people that fund Israel or any of that stuff, they immediately try to say, oh, well, you're an anti-Semite. But what about all the elites here in power in the United States of America? We can question them. We can question the American government, but you can't question the elites in Israel. You can't question the people that are running the government in Israel. You make it make sense to me. Benjamin Netanyahu is on trial right now for corruption. This is like the second time that's happened that he's been on trial for corruption. And his wife is on trial for corruption. I think that one got thrown out or something. I don't know whatever happened with the wife's charges. I don't follow her like that. But this is serious and this is real. And you mean to tell me that we can't question the elites of that country when we see that it's not popular with their people over there? I just was watching the what's it called? The Castanet, however you pronounce it, basically their Congress over there, and they were accusing Netanyahu of being responsible for October 7th, which I'm sure that he was. Like, full stop. Like, and people are like, oh, well, it's because it's a breakdown of the government and the military people. Because a couple, if you remember, maybe about 6 months ago, might have been a little bit longer, maybe 8 months ago, like they fired the person that was in charge of that portion of the military because of the clear issues that happened on that day and the breakdown in communication, where they were having people that weren't patrolling and they were just having, basically nobody came to the defense of the people over there on October 7th. And now now it's all the way in their Congress that they're really calling for something to be done about Netanyahu, because it's on his head. It can't nobody tell me otherwise, that Netanyahu isn't at fault for what happened on October 7th, the same way that can't nobody tell me otherwise that Donald Rumsfeld and what's the Halliburton guy that just died? What's his name? Drop his name in the comments. Okay, the guy that shot the other guy in the face. Cheney. Can't nobody tell me that Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld didn't know about the 9/11 attack ahead of time. Can't nobody tell me that. The same way that the same way that Benjamin Netanyahu knew about the October 7th attack ahead of time. Like, who's stupid? Like, these people are very highly intelligent, very in tune inside of the intelligence community, when there were intelligence reports that were already saying that October 7th the attack was gonna happen ahead of time, and then all of a sudden there's nobody there to defend that part of the border. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Same thing with 9/11. Oh, they couldn't scramble the jets. It takes 15 minutes to scramble jets from Niagara Air Force Base to the city. Stop playing with me. Oh, well, nobody knew what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. We got videos talking about they were going to blow up the Twin Towers. We got videos talking about of not like movies. The first one I'm talking about movies. We got movies talking about they were going to blow up the Twin Towers. We got the what do you call it? The X-Files talking about they were going to blow up the Twin Towers. We got what's his face? Alex Jones talking about they were going to blow up the Twin Towers. They were going to take planes and run them into the building. And you mean to tell me that nobody knew that? Then it comes out, you read the report on 9/11, the what was it? France warned us, Egypt warned us, and a dozen other places, including Saudi Arabia, which, if you listen and hear tell, the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, allegedly. We're not going to talk about that. But everybody knew that it was going to happen. The same thing with October 7th and Benjamin Netanyahu. You mean to tell me that the most capable intelligence agency in the world, the Mossad, did not know that that was going to happen? And they out here blowing people up with pagers? They blowing people's pagers up in Iran. And you mean to tell me they didn't know about October 7th and they planned that pager attack on Iran for 15 years? Stop playing in my face. Stop playing in my face. Tell that lie to somebody else. Tell it to somebody else. Because I'm not buying it. And clearly neither are the people of Israel. And they want heads to roll over it, specifically Netanyahu's. And now we got Trump out here talking about, oh, that you should pardon Netanyahu. No. He need to be in prison, bro. He need to be in prison for what he did to his people. That's not even those other people that say, oh, well, what he's doing to the Palestinians is bad, this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. I'm talking about what he did to his own people. So, and that's only the most recent thing. I could go into other things. But I don't want to make this about him. But the point of the matter is that we cannot even question the elite and the government of Israel, but we should be questioning our own government. But we should be questioning the French government. We should be questioning the English government. We should be questioning the elites in the US. We should be questioning the elites at the World Economic Forum. We should be questioning everybody else. But if they got anything to do with Israel, or if they're a European Jewish ethnicity, you can't even question them. And again, most of them aren't even practicing Jews. So that's a whole nother conversation about how they're all secular. Don't even get me started on that nonsense. But they denied Jesus Christ as the Messiah. And they are trying to usher in the Antichrist, which is who they claim is their Messiah. So there's some shady, weird stuff going on over there right now in Israel. And somebody needs to do something about it. Preferably the Israeli people. Again, most of them are secular. So maybe somebody needs to point out that some people that got some real serious money and some real serious backing are trying to usher in the Antichrist. So it needs to be stopped. Go look into it. The thing with the red heifer, they're working on trying to rebuild the Temple Mount, all of this stuff, which means that they're going to have to blow the mosque off the Temple Mount, which means there's some crazy nonsense going to have to happen in the next couple of years. I guarantee you it would happen by about 2030, 2035, or sometime between now and then, because they already sacrificed the red heifer. So it's coming. But can we have that conversation? Because it's very clear that there's some sort of a collective cabal that is working around the world to dispossess the people and to empower themselves and put this whole strategy in place where they control all of the citizens in the world, right? Like, this is an unknown. So I don't understand how we would leave the elite that are tied to Israel out of that whole conversation, right? Can we have that conversation? But no, we can't. So I appreciate you guys. Please make sure you like, share, drop a comment, get this message out there. We're going to have a great conversation next week. So share this out. I'll catch you later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Y'all be blessed and be well. Remember to have those important conversations, because it ain't going to be nobody to have them but us.
Brand do not necessarily reflect those.
All right, you guys. So we're heading out here a couple minutes early today, but I'll catch you later. All right. Y'all be blessed and be well. Make sure you're sharing this out, because we need to get more people to follow them and more people to subscribe so that we can share these words and this information with more people. If we don't promote having these important open conversations and debates, then the enemy wins. And they are the enemy of all mankind. All mankind. They're doing everything that they can to push the elite's plan forward to depopulate the world and have complete grasp and authoritarianism over everybody. And that's just not the people over there. That's the people over here. We got Peter Thiel. We got Elon Musk. We got, what's the other guy's name? Oh, I can see his face. All of the PayPal people, okay, the PayPal mafia people, and a number of other people, including Bill Gates, you know, the traditional ones, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, and other ones. We need to have these serious conversations, and we need to talk about these important things. So get this message out there, share this out. We got to stop the damage that's coming, that's being done, because it's very clear that none of our government cares about us at all. They're too concerned with every little teeny tiny thing and doing everything they can to divide us, that nothing ever happens. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Make sure that you take action and get out and get active. Peace.